everyone, this is Mindy Eggen and welcome back to my channel. I have some inspiration to share with you today featuring these adorable penguins, which is part of a collaboration kit between Thermoweb and Gina Designs. So first we are going to take a look at some of the products I received. I have some toner card fronts, we have a stencil, we have a stamp set with some trees and beautiful sentiments. And then there's also, I think these are flock. They have kind of that velvety finish to them. And then you also have a die set. Now, I also had received from Thermoweb some fancy foils. These are, I think it's like a sparkling blue, green, and red. Brilliant blue, glittering green, and radiant red. So I already went ahead and pulled out one sheet of each. And the first thing I'm going to do is get my foiling done. So I took out 3 of those toner card panels. I think these measure 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I'm trimming out my foil to fit those card panels. Now, I've always received lots of questions about, what to do with your extra foil once you've foiled a design. And this is where these toner card fronts come in handy. You can either foil the whole thing completely or use your extra or your leftover foil sheets and put them on top of these toner card fronts. So right now I have out my fuse foiling system that's heating up. I'm taking a Swiffer cloth and just kind of buffing off any dust or little particles that may be on those toner sheets and also my foil, because if there is anything on there, it's going to get in the way and not foil completely. So then what I'll do is take I think this was the glittering green, placed it over the top of that black toner sheet. I'm going to place this inside of my clear carrier sheet that came from my fuse foiling system. And then I'm going to just place that into the system, push it in, or not push it, but place it in far enough where the system will catch it, and then let that run through the machine. Now you always want to put your carrier sheets in so it's folded side or the folded edge in, because then that way the rollers won't catch on anything. Then once that cooled off, I just removed that piece, and look at that. Every piece of that foiled onto that toner sheet. So you're essentially creating your own glittery type of cardstock, except absolutely no shedding because it is foil. Then here is the radiant red. And then I also did one in that brilliant blue. So being that there is absolutely no speckles left over once I peel that sheet away, I know that it foiled completely. I have absolutely no black spots showing through my foil. I'm going to be using these to die cut out some pieces for my penguins to kind of decorate them up and add some shimmer and shine to them. Here's a look at all 3 of those panels, and I definitely need to go and pick up some more of those toner sheets. Now I'm also going to be grabbing some of that flock. I don't remember the name exactly of it, but it does have that really pretty kind of velvety feel to it. And I'm going to place the pieces on here that I'm going to be die cutting it from. So the white is actually going to be kind of the face and body of our penguin. The main body of the penguin is going to be die cut from a dark gray cardstock. My tree I have from grass green. Then we also have these plates. So one of the plates is going to be for your feet and your beak. The other plate that I placed on that dark gray cardstock is going to be the eyes and the wings of our penguin. And then we have our accessories. So there is a snowflake I'm going to die cut multiple times from that white flock. Then we have earmuffs. We have a little hat that I'm going to make a Santa hat. And we also have kind of a stocking hat. So I'm going to go ahead and place some of these pieces on that foiled cardstock or that foiled paper I just did. I'm going to use that radiant red to create a Santa hat. My earmuffs I will do with the glittering green. And the top of my stocking cap I'm going to do with the brilliant blue. But I decided for the band of my stocking hat and also my Santa hat, I'm going to do it out of that white flock. I will take these off camera and do a bunch of die cutting, and when I come back, I have all of these pieces die cut. I also did die cut out some of these pieces from white cardstock as well, just to kind of add some backer to it to give it a little bit more to grip to and just a smidge of dimension. So I will start by creating just one penguin on screen. I have a backer piece for my flock. So I did die cut one of those pieces out of the white flock, one out of white cardstock, and I'm going to layer it up with my liquid glue. Then I can place that on top of my penguin. How adorable is that? I mean, just that alone is super cute. Then I have the little feet, which I did from some orange cardstock. I'm adding a dot of glue and placing those feet kind of just tucked in behind the penguin. And then we have the wings, which are so cute. And you can put these, either holding a present or just having the wings out. There's also the beak. Now, I think the beak is actually two pieces because there was a large piece and a small piece, but I'm just going to use the large piece. And then I added the two little black circles for eyes, or the dark gray cardstock for eyes. So super adorable. Now I also sped this part up. I'm going to assemble some of the winter accessories. This is the Santa hat. So once again, I die cut each of those pieces, not only from the foiled panels, but also the white flock, and did that extra piece of cardstock, especially for those toner panels because they're pretty thin. So by adding that extra cardstock back there just kind of gave it a little bit of stability and thickness. So first here I have my Santa penguin. I just love him. There is also a die to create a bow that you can add a bow tie. There's also a scarf. I think I might die cut the scarf later on. So here is the stocking cap, and there's also kind of like this little pom-pom that I tucked behind my hat. I also used that same circle pom-pom for my Santa hat. And then these are the earmuffs I thought were just really cute in that green. And it was really helpful to have that backer piece, especially for the earmuffs. So now I have this darling army of penguins. I'm going to create a card right now, but these would be really, really great on Christmas tags. I just wasn't quite in the mood for tags just yet, but I can handle a card front. I'm going to take that stencil, and I have a piece of Ocean Mist cardstock that I'm going to tape to the stencil. This is cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I am going to be ink blending on some sea glass ink. I thought this would give a nice kind of tone-on-tone look. Using my blending brushes from Gina Designs, I'm going to go around the entire card panel to add that blue to it. So it's going to give it kind of a subtle background. I also contemplated using a white pigment ink, but decided I was going to go this direction and add white splatters instead. Now I am going around the entire edge, and I'm going to add some of that sea glass ink to the edge. I was pretty sure I wasn't going to be trimming this panel down, so I like to have my edges blended. I'm creating a snowy hill for my penguins using a master layout set from Gina Designs. So I die cut that out of white cardstock. Right now, I just placed everything on the front of the card to get an idea where it would all fit. And I'm going to stamp the sentiment kind of down in that bottom center. If you're curious to what master layout set I used, I will have everything linked down in the video description below and over on my blog. I'm stamping the sentiment in the Gina Designs, I think it was the black Onyx ink, and I didn't notice it there, but my sentiment is crooked. So give me a few minutes to catch on. I do figure that out in a minute. Here I'm going to add some white splatters. So I have some white paint that I mixed with water. Took my paintbrush, and I'm just going to tap that all over the background. I'm going to take this piece and set it off on the side to dry and add some splatters to my trees as well to give them kind of that snowy look. As things started to dry, I'm going to take my snowy hill and I'm going to add a tape runner behind that to attach to the bottom of my card. This is going to just give my penguins kind of a home base. What's the word? Grounding. I want to ground my images. I didn't pop up the hill because I'm going to be adding foam squares to the trees and the penguins to give my card dimension. So here I am taking my foam squares from Gina Designs. I'm only adding the foam squares to one side of the tree because I'm going to have them hanging off of each edge. So I didn't really need to add any to the one side that's going to get trimmed off. So I placed that on the left-hand side. I came over to my other tree, removed the backing of these foam squares, and then tried to line that up as best as I could with the other tree. Some of my larger splatters were still a little wet and it smeared, but I think it just kind of adds to the whole effect. Now for the penguins, I'm going to have 3 of them all the way across, and arranged them in a certain way on purpose. So my two penguins that have hats on, I placed on the outer edges, and then the earmuffs are going to go in the center. And I made sure to put the Santa one off on the left-hand side because then his little pom-pom isn't getting in the way of another penguin. So I added the foam squares to the penguins, even the one in the center. And somewhere along the line, I figured out that my sentiment was not very straight. So I sat and kind of debated what I was going to do. While I'm thinking about it, I added in my white flocked snowflakes, just adding them with some liquid glue. And as you can see here, you really can't tell that that is a snowy hill down at the bottom. So I went off screen, stamped the sentiment again on a strip of white cardstock, and I added tape runner to the back, and I'm just going to literally tuck that underneath the trees and his feet. So you can see a little bit of the white cardstock in the background, but not enough to notice that that was a hill. I have a little bit of excess hanging off the bottom edge of my card, so I'll just take that over to my paper trimmer and trim that off. And it always makes me so super happy when I can fix my mistakes, where I can salvage everything and fix that without having to redo a bunch of areas on the card. So here's a close-up look. I love their fuzzy faces and the fuzzy parts of the hat, and their shiny hats and earmuffs are perfect bling to this card. I hope you enjoyed today's card project. I will have the supplies used listed down below in the video description and my blog. Keep in mind, this kit is only available over at Thermoweb, not on the Gina K Designs website. Thanks so much for joining, and I'll see you again soon.